All right, brethren. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Creator, for this opportunity. You've given me another opportunity to try to be the best light that I can be while I'm in this reality, and I thank you for it. Thank you for joining me. My name is Shaikwal Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel where I just try to minister to my brethren who are called faithists, wherever they may be. I'm trying to situate my table so I can, oh boy. Man, I feel terrible, man. I thought I was getting over the cold and it just seemed to make a comeback. It's not as bad as it was before, but man, it's not letting up on me anytime soon, but that's all right. Still glad to be here. Want to thank the Creator for this opportunity. Try to be a light while I'm in this reality, which means I just try to share my faith. I just happen to be a brother who believes in what's called the OAHSPE Bible, Practical Guidebook Revelation. And it's the latest revelation from the Creator. And I'm very, very, very thankful to be one of the fortunate few who can receive that word. Hey, Elijah. Hey, brother, good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in. Like you always do. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. So, like I say all the time, this channel, I'm a brother. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to make $1 billion. Uh, Creator's given me a very simple word, very, very easy to understand type of word. And that's the way I love it. I like to share it. And I can't imagine any greater blessing in the world to be able to, in a day and age where we really don't know what time, we don't know the seriousness of the time that we're living in. And I mean that I'm talking to all mankind because the Creator says so. In the newest revelation, the OAHSPE, the practical guidebook, Creator tells you that there will be few, that his people would be scattered all over the world, that they would be very, very few in number. I'm not trying to sound exclusive. I know people love to do that. I'm not trying to do that. I know that the current reality, people love to be part of the inner circle. It goes back to high school, where there's always the in crowd. And it carries on and on. One of the things that sometimes every now and then when I take in a basketball game on TV, oh man, I'm really plugged up. When I like to take on every now and then taking a basketball game on TV to distract myself, let the time go by, and the people in the front row and the high price seats, it's like they love to be. I mean, it's like the in crowd, the elite, and people like that, and that's just the way. Oh man, that's just the way it is in this reality, I mean, people who like to separate themselves, they like to be part of the important group, the the elite group, and it's a terrible shame in the sense that it's vanity, it's vainglory, and people are in love with vainglory, and spiritually speaking too. I've been in a couple of cults in my life, and they build themselves as the chosen and the in crowd, and when you're young and coming up and you trying to chase the Creator, you get sucked in every now and then to these type of doctrines where they appeal to how special you are, and you're one of the very chosen few, and that sucks you in. And it's not until a little while later that you wake up and you see where all the where all the problem, where the issues of the doctrines that Christians are teaching you. Some people don't come out of that though. But then I was one of the fortunate ones, and the Creator had mercy on me. And here I am saying the same thing, in the sense that faithists, people who are spoken of as the children, as the brides and bridegrooms of the Creator, it's not in an exclusive sense, because our job, the Creator, the will of the Creator, I mean, he doesn't refuse anybody. He doesn't refuse anybody. The message that we have been given is open to all. It's an invitation to come out of the deception, the darkness that's in the world. And but the the OAHSPE, it teaches that man, he prevents himself from freeing of freeing himself from his bondage. Um, I think there's a verse that I'm going to show later on in the program where the Creator says that people in and of themselves are going to be the ones to reject the light because they will see the witness of the high raised angels, the Etherians, and it's like you decide not to do something because you're just too convicted. You don't do something because you feel that you're not good enough or you don't belong. And the Creator said it's going to be that same. It's going to be the same way with His kingdoms. So when I say here that I belong to a very, very special group of brethren, and it is a very chosen group of brethren. It's not to the exclusion of anybody else. I'm not trying to exclude anybody else. The Creator, He calls all men His children. And he says that men are either ripe or unripe in this reality. Now, I want to share a little story real quick about the situation we're in. We're in a situation that I think needs to be brought to your attention, brethren. I want to share something with you real quick. Now, you might not have paid attention. You know, I'm a bit political. I like to watch the events of the world that so I can see what may possibly affect me and my reality so that I can prepare myself whatever way I feel best. Now, I want to share something with you, brethren, real quick. Now, it has to do with the president and the president-elect, okay? The current president, Joe Biden, and the president-to-be, Donald Trump. Something that I saw, it was a news event over the weekend, last week. Now, I found it interesting that the first ladies, the wives of the presidents of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the first ladies, they had a tiff, so to speak, if you want to call it that. It was a situation happened where the current first lady invited the incoming first lady for a cup of tea or whatever, you know, some traditional. When one president is new and incoming, then the sitting president invites the president-elect to come, and, you know, him and his wife. And so the first lady of President Biden, she invited the, oh, hey, Mahalia. Hey, sister, good to see you. Good to see you, Mahalia. So anyway, the current president, Joe Biden, he invited Donald Trump and his wife to the White House as, you know, it was like a tradition that you do, that presidents do. And so Donald Trump's wife said no, and she snubbed the first lady, right? And she said the reason was because they tried to kill her husband, Donald Trump, right? Y'all probably heard about the assassination attempt. Well, it's a lot of suspicion around that, and some people were saying that Joe Biden might have had something to do with orchestrating that or allowing it. So I hope you can follow me, okay? So Donald Trump's wife, for that reason, refused to meet with the first lady of Joe Biden. She snubbed her, right? So turns out that Joe Biden, he met with Donald Trump, just Donald Trump, right? And it turns out that after the meeting, now he did something. He did something. Joe Biden did something. And I'm bringing this out because it makes you shake your head. The OAHSPE don't want you to share the evil report about your neighbor. And so I'm just trying to frame it in a way that my conscience can be at peace with it. Now, Joe Biden didn't like that his wife got snubbed by Donald Trump's wife. Okay. And Joe Biden being a Scorpio means he's going to get revenge for what the embarrassment that Donald Trump's wife caused his wife, the first lady, right? It might help if I give you a little if I bring it up on screen here what I'm talking about. Melania Trump snubs Jill Biden, White House invite. Okay. Here is what happened. Okay, she was invited and she refused to go because she said they orchestrated the assassination attempt. And when they were investigating her husband, they went through her underwear and not to be vulgar, but they disrespected, they really treated her disrespectfully. So she refused to meet with the first lady, right? So Donald Trump met with Joe Biden. Okay, so Trump met with Joe Biden. Okay, there you see the two of them meeting with one another. They met with one another. Okay, so this was after Donald Trump's wife snubbed Joe Biden. So they met. And you see them shaking hands there, right? And then afterwards, now Joe Biden being a Scorpio, it means that this is a sign that's prone to wanting to get revenge. So what he did after they met, Joe Biden authorizes Ukraine to use weapons inside of Russia. So what the president did was he authorized Ukraine to use U.S. missiles inside of Russia. You know, there's a war going on, Russia and Ukraine. Now, he did that so that President Trump would more than likely have a serious conflagration on his hands when he takes office. Because Russia, a get back. Yeah. So what he turned around and did to get back at Trump's wife was he authorized Ukraine to use weapons inside of Russia. Okay. For a long time, he said no. Now, shortly after she snubbed his wife, now all of a sudden he's going to allow them, Ukraine, to use weapons inside of Russia. So that when Trump takes office, now he's going to have this problem on his hands because this guy here is getting the snot beat out of him by Russia. On the screen here, the guy on the left, he is getting the snot beat out of him. His army, his country. I mean, Russia is just every day grabbing a little bit more of his country, and they ain't giving it back. And this guy is desperate to get the United States involved, to do anything to get his to get his behind out of the fire. So now that the president said, go ahead, use those weapons we gave you, you can shoot them inside Russia. Russia has now said, if you do that, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to respond, which means that we could be in a world war, World War III, meaning, they're going to hit us back and they're going to hit Europe. So, all because Donald Trump's wife snubbed the first lady. Now, all of this is going down. So, Biden, he turned around to get back at Trump, because by the time he takes office January 20th, we're going to be in a world of who knows what's ahead of us. We got a situation for you're behind now, because he turned around in order to give the new President Trump, in order to hand him a bunch of problems, he's authorizing Ukraine to strike inside of Russia. Russia said, you do that, we're going to hit you, meaning the United States and Europe and NATO. If he fires weapons inside of Russia, and this guy who's losing on the left-hand side on the screen, he is certainly going to fire the weapons inside of Russia. He is certainly going to do it, because he's trying to get his tail out of the fire. Yeah, Mahalia, and he that's how sneaky Biden is. You know, he is really sneaky evil and doing stuff like that, because his wife got snubbed by Donald Trump's wife. What he's going to do is he's going to make sure that when Donald Trump takes office, he's more than likely going to have a world war to deal with. We're going to more than likely be in a situation. We're going to be in a situation. This guy here on the screen on the left, the younger guy, his country is getting this behind handed to him. And like when you're in a fight, if you're in a fight or somebody's in a fight and they get on the short end of the stick, they'll do anything to get out of that situation. They'll try to, you know what I mean? They are, tell somebody to help them, or they'll try to do something to deflect from the situation, or, just anything to get out of it. And so this guy, now that he has the green light to fire weapons that the United States has given him inside of Russia, he's certainly going to do that, because he wants to get the United States involved and Europe involved, NATO. All because of Donald Trump's wife snubbed the first lady. So he's going to get back at Donald Trump. See? Now, is it any coincidence that tomorrow Pluto goes into Aquarius? Is it any coincidence? Is it any coincidence? First of all, I forgot to show you what the Russian president said. See, this involves, we're talking about an event, brethren. Putin warns Zelensky against firing weapons in Russia. Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to find anything that I'm looking for where the Russian president said, if you fire them weapons inside of Russia, we're going to strike the United States and we're going to strike Europe. Now, here's the article where it said, well, shoot, I ain't going to be able to find it. Okay, here's something right here where the Russian president, he said, if you fire inside, if you hit inside, if you hit Russia proper, I'm trying to find what Putin said he was going to do. I can't find anything. He said if you do that, it's like he's going to consider that an act of war. All right? I can't take time trying to find an article. Okay, here's something right here. If those missiles that Joe Biden is giving Ukraine permission to fire into Russian territory, basically they're going to consider that an act of war. Okay, see, that's where you, brethren, this is where we're at. This is where we live, man. Now, it's no coincidence that Pluto goes into Aquarius tomorrow. It's no coincidence that we're in the cosmic era. We know that we are looking at a change. We are looking at an event, brethren, a serious event where soon the world is going to know the Creator's not playing. He is not playing at all, man. I mean, see, I found this. Let me share. I found the scripture I want to share with y'all too. I think y'all gonna like it. I think y'all really gonna like it. So let me try to find it. But I'm mentioning all these things because now all of a sudden it's coming out. These situations. You know, she snubbed Donald Trump's wife, snubbed the first lady. And so Joe Biden, to get back at her, now it's my opinion, but I think that it's a fair connection to make. In order to get back at her, because that's an embarrassment. Donald Trump's wife embarrassed the first lady. She embarrassed her. So to get back at Donald Trump's wife, he's going to hand him a likely world war to start his administration. He's going to hand him, more than likely, a world war. Because the moment that guy in Ukraine, when you get whooped like that, where it's cold over there, and Russia is constantly hitting that energy grid, where you can't heat your home, that guy, the only thing on his mind is to try to get other nations involved to help him. Because the pressure is just unbearable with Russia hitting their energy grid. They can't heat their homes. The winter is now coming in. In February, it'll be in full bloom. So you brothers see the situation. We're in the cosmic era. We're in a once in a lifetime event with Pluto going into Aquarius tomorrow. Let me see. Mahal, you said the cabinet advisors also could have talked him into it to escalate the war. Yeah, Mahal, you've been following this. You've been keeping up. Because you know that Trump, his administration is pro-war. His administration is pro-war. He went and got before all. See how he plays people. You know, he plays people. He didn't say anything about the fact that he's pro-Israel. He didn't say it. He kept that under wraps during his campaign. See, that's how he does, man. He knew not to talk about that. He knew that he couldn't say anything about he talked about very little. And now that he's elected, he's surrounding himself with his own kind. He's surrounding himself he's for his people, white people. But he got in front of when he was campaigning, he was talking about how he's anti-war. telling the people he was going to end it. And then he comes in office and he shows his true colors. The people that he has picked are pro-war. They're going to take this nation. This nation is going to war. And I think the creator is somewhere involved in this as allowing it, because we're in the cosmic era now. And things are going to change, brother. Things are going to change. And I think the time of Ag, which is wars, and I think that Gia is still going on, personally. I think that the time of diseases and epidemics, and I think that it's still, our brother was saying that it ended, but I think I may beg to differ. I think these things are going to overlap, and the period of time we're going into is going to both happen at once. I don't know. I don't know whether the creator is going to mark it, or let things happen subtly, slowly, incrementally. I think it's going to be incrementally. We're going to see a build up, and it's going to be a great harvest for the beast, because you know what happens when people see trouble on the horizon? The first thing they run to is the beast, to church. And I think it's like Luamang's final hurrah. So that's kind of like a snapshot of where we are. And I don't think it's any coincidence, the things that are going on. I think things are going to pick up to where we can see it. The most important thing right now is if that dude, if he starts firing them missiles inside of Russia, and it could happen any day, it can happen any minute, man, then that means, it's like Russia has said, if you do that, he basically going to consider that an act of war. All right. Now, faith is the situation with us, from what I can see. I was trying to remember where the OAHSPE, the creator, he talked about, he said something about his people. And I think it had something to do along the lines of protection, or hiding us, or removing us, or it's on the tip of my tongue. I don't think I'm going to have time to look for it. I didn't expect to go into it. I didn't even expect to talk about what I just got finished talking about. I felt moved to tell you that we're in a situation. And it went over I didn't hear hardly anyone talk about put it together like I just put it together. I think the creator gave it to me to put it together so that I could share it with you about the conflagration of events with Donald Trump's wife snubbing the first lady, and then the president getting back. And he met with Trump. Joe Biden met with Trump, and he has the ability to smile in your face and then stab you in your back. Actually, both of them have that ability. They could smile in your face. You saw a picture, they were shaking hands, smiling. Look at them. Shaking hands, they smile, and they said some of the most awful things about each other during the campaign. They can shake hands. They can smile and look at each other, act like all is forgiven, and then turn right around, man, and stab each other in the back. I never heard that song, Elijah. Bob Marley, War, No Trouble. And it just goes to show you how these, just like the OAHSPE say, nothing but rogues will accept your great offices. Rogues, undisciplined, unprincipled men. Now, again, man, I'm just sharing this with you. This is the conflagration of events where we live. We already know Pluto is going into Aquarius tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. That means we're in a whole new era now, a whole new era. And it might not happen right away, but we know that we are in a different time now. And it points to revolution. It points to a big time change. And we're in it's Pluto going into Aquarius is a once in a lifetime event. It's a once in a 4 lifetime event. It only happens once every 250 years. An event that, although for the last couple of years, it's been going in and out of Aquarius because a planet, it works like a pendulum. It'll go into a house, the house of Aquarius, come back out, go back in, come back out, go back in. Tomorrow it's going to go in, it's going to stay in. It's going to stay in for 20 years. And so we're going to, what it looks like is there's going to be a separation between brethren. Faithists are just going to elevate and elevate and elevate and elevate and elevate. And the Uzians are just going to digress. What is that word? Declension. It's going to be like two magnets. You know how you try to put two magnets together and they force themselves apart. And sad to say, it's going to be a separation. The darkness becomes greater, but so does the light. So I'm just bringing it to your attention, brethren, submitting this information for your consideration of what our situation is. This is the situation we're in. This is no joke, man. And the world they don't care nothing about. That's how you get caught off guard, man. I'm going to share some things real quick. I found a comforting verse I want to share with y'all. I found something real comforting, man. It blessed my soul. So I want to share it with y'all. Some brethren are afflicted, And I found something in the OAHSPE that just blessed my soul, man. Matter of fact, I think it's in my room. Let me show you. First of all, let me show my brethren's room in case somebody is new, where you can go and have fellowship with us. So let me show his rooms. Here's one. Here's the other. Or no, that's not. Let me find the other room. Here's the other room. If somebody's looking at this video for the first time and you want to know more about the Faithists and you heard about the OAHSPE, you want to know more about it, these are places where you could go, or we like to share the OAHSPE, and we like to share the verses and have fellowship with one another. So you go on Facebook and you send a brother an invite, he'll bring you in. Okay, now here's my room. My mom's got a food ministry where we try to target orphans, elderly, disabled. And I can be contacted right there, to join hands with any brethren who is ministering likewise. That's the name of my room. Now, here's some verses that I want to share real quick, and I'll come across some verses that I was referring to in my monologue, I'm sure. Now, here it is right here. Oh, man. Now, this verse, man, is very comforting, brethren. I loved it, man. I loved it. And I found it right before I came on for the video, and it blessed my soul. And it's amazing the way the Creator works, man. I'll get a question in my mind, and then he'll just give me a word. And it happens so much, it's beyond coincidence. Now, I'm in a state where I suffer a lot, man. You know, change the screen. I do a lot of suffering, man, you know, and I don't complain, you know. I realize the agenda. I realize that this is what I'm called to. I try not to complain. I get tired of it sometimes, you know, the situation, you know, your body is breaking down, you know. And then it really, today, it vexed me because we're in that time of the year. It's November and December. My least favorite months. Gets cold. It's dark all the time, you know. But it's cool. It's cool, you know. I'm trying to learn to love even that. So I got this scripture here. And I loved it, man. I want to share it with you. It says, Capella said, if your eyes could see as mine have seen, or your ears hear as mine have heard, then it would be easy to answer you. Now, he's talking to somebody else like I do. I post verses and I'm jumping in the middle of a thought. So just bear with me. He said, nevertheless, I declare to you a great truth, which is also revealed in the doctrines of the ancients, that this is not the real life. See, that's something you think this, you know. And I think, well, come to think of it, I think a lot of people in the world, they know it too. I think they know there's something after this, but they don't care, you know. Don't know how to prepare, don't care, you know. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that's just the way it is. But check out what this thing says. He says, nevertheless, I declare to you a great truth, which is also revealed in the doctrines of the ancients, that this is not the real life, but the embryonic state. We're in the embryonic state. You hear me talking about that from time to time. Brethren, we're in the embryo. If you do an embryonic study, that's fascinating. Brethren, we are actually in the embryonic state. We're in the womb. And then it says, and many who have great pleasures and enjoyments in this life, listen to this. They wake up only as babes in heaven. And while many who are virtuous and wise, but suffer great misery in this life, they wake up in heaven in strength and glory. How do you like that? How do you like that? It says, more are trials and exertions to be desired than ease and enjoyment, for the former causes of the soul to look upward, but the latter causes the soul to look downward, meaning great pleasures, that's the latter. Great pleasures and enjoyments in this life. So you have a lot of people who they don't see anything better than the earth. They get a big kick out of it, you know. They love it, man, you know. And a lot of them don't even have to be rich. You know, a lot of brethren could be poor, but they just get a kick out of the earth, you know. They have great pleasures and enjoyments in this life. It says they wake up only as babes in heaven. But it says that virtuous and wise brethren, they may suffer great misery in this life. They wake up in heaven in strength and glory. And then it says, more are trials and exertions to be desired than ease and enjoyment. For the former causes the soul to look upward, meaning the afflictions, the let me make sure I'm reading that right. I gotta look at this, make sure I'm reading it right. Now the former is before the latter. And it says here that more are trials and exertions to be desired. So that's what you want, than ease and enjoyment. And a lot of us have that in our life. For the former causes the soul to look upward, but the latter causes the soul to look downward. So the suffer the great miseries, the suffering and the misery causes your soul to look forward to the spiritual. But the pleasures and great enjoyments cause you to look at the earth downward. So we have reason to rejoice, brethren, when you find yourself in situations where it make you pine, P-I-N-E, for the spiritual. You're under a blessing. See, the Creator is saying you need that so that you can desire the spiritual. You need that so you can desire the spiritual. It's important to desire. He says you wake up in strength and great glory. Imagine that, man. You know, there's a lot of high and mighty. They think that it's the same way. Well, I can't say what they think, but the Creator is saying here, they wake up as people who enjoy, they look at the earth, they love the earth, they glory in the earth, they prosper in the earth. The earth it's like, you know what I mean? They love the earth, the great pleasures and the enjoyments in this life, so much so that you don't pay any attention to, you don't think there's anything better. This is all you look at. It's the pull of the world. But the Creator says the virtuous and the wise who suffer great misery in this life, they wake up in heaven in strength and glory. So now you can see what the Creator, what is ahead of you. And I have to think that as a faithist, that our testimony is one of great misery in this life. I think that it's great suffering for us because we're very strange brethren in this reality. There ain't many of us who are able to attain to the voice of the Creator. You know what I mean? Let me see if I can find some more verse. Okay, now here's talking about tomorrow. Pluto going into Aquarius, and here's a little history on it. When Pluto comes into Aquarius, once every 249 years, it brings with it revolutions, brethren. It's unmistakable what happens when this thing comes around every 249 years. See, we should take heart, man, that the Creator, and now we in the Cosmic era. So the Creator, he let a little bit of history get built up behind this, And then he brings the cosmic era where he starts harvesting brethren. See, spiritually, we're at a stage where we are now ready to be harvested. He's put away the old way of things, the Cephas, the tradition of things. He's given us a new revelation, the cosmic era, the brotherhood of man, the template of peace, love, righteousness, looking at your brethren differently, serving your brethren, wanting to be a servant for your brethren, because the ultimate plan of the Creator is that you brethren be administrators of one of his many worlds. Ethereal worlds as gods and goddesses. That's it right there. That's the whole big picture right there. Now, here's something that I shared because I wanted to point out how the world is big on miracles and wonders. And that could be an evil angel doing that. I'm sure you brethren already know that. That could be an evil angel. Because you do that to somebody and you got them. They are trapped. They are sold out, man, for you and what you showed them. They're sold out. They're sold out now because you did a miracle or a wonder. And the Creator said in the OAHSPE, he even allows that for evil people, evil spirits. He allows that. He'll send it. Remember, it said that you'll get answered according to the spirit within you. If you make intercession or you make prayer, and it's for the benefit, benevolence of your brethren, the Creator said that's the type of prayer he answers. But if it's for you to hit the lottery, the Creator says he'll let somebody else answer that. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show you before the reading of the word, and let's see. It had to do with where spirits go. And I thought it was interesting the way it was worded. Basically, now I don't know if, let me see. Is this it? Let's see. No, that's not it. But you can stop the screen and read it. Okay, here it is right here. I thought this was interesting. You brethren, I'm sure already know it. But it goes into detail about when we are born in spirit. It tells you about the Essenes and Essenes. See, when I read this, I thought, man, this is why it's important not to play with the Creator, you know. Now, in our day and age, he's telling us to get off of flesh. That's one thing. He's telling us to come out of the beast kingdom. That's another thing. He's telling us to use the time because you're shaping your eternity. And the way you do that is basically you're fighting the tetrarchs, the evil influences, and you're trying to be a servant in your mind's eye towards your brother. Very, very simple instructions. Now, I came across this right here. It talks about, I asked AI, are mortals separated in the spiritual realm or something like that? Now, this is the answer I got. It said, yes, mortals are separated in the spiritual realm, and their status often depends on their spiritual development and choices made during their corporeal lives. The document indicates that upon death, spirits can be categorized based on their spiritual maturity. See, on their spiritual maturity. Now, Essenes and Essenes are spirits in the first resurrection. Spirits in the first resurrection, known as Essenes, are those who have begun to separate from corporal desires. Okay. That's what actually we're trying to learn to do right now. We want to hit the ground running as seeds. If I understand this correctly, he says after a certain period they become Essenes. Essenes become Essenes, signifying they have fully separated from such desires and are now full residents in the spiritual realm. So you see how it works. We start out as in the spiritual as we're young. Let me read it again. It says spirits in the first resurrection are known as Essenes. And spirits in the first resurrection, known as Essenes, are those who have begun to separate from corporeal desires. Then, after a certain period, they become Essenes. So there's like you're born in the spirit, and it's for faithists who are beginning to separate from corporeal desires. That's you, brother. And then after a certain period, we become Essenes, like for maybe 1 to 5 years. It says signifying that they have fully separated from such desires. Now we're complete. Now we're Essenes. And now we're full residents of the spiritual realm. Now it says that Druges, those who remain bound to the earth and they refuse to progress spiritually, are referred to as Druge, signifying wandering spirits of darkness and evil. It says they exist in a separate state from those who have advanced spiritually. So that's the seriousness of where we are. We want to be advancing spiritually. I mean, and not kidding ourselves, discerning ourselves, judging ourselves. The things that we're called to do, I don't think they're to be taken lightly. If the Creator says that basically the template is that you go about peace, love, righteousness, wisdom, virtue, meaning to treat each other right, treat yourself right, treat your brethren right. The inspiration comes from your Ashar. And then if you do that, you are advanced spiritually. You're advanced spiritually. Druges don't, they just don't advance. They have no knowledge. They don't care. They love the earth. They're tied to it. They speak of the earth. They have no knowledge. They're unenlightened. And then here it said the contentment of spirits. The document also mentioned that spirits can become content in their respective spiritual realms without the ambition to rise further, affecting their development and further distinguishing them from other groups. So there's a separation. There are some spirits that they don't mind being wandering spirits, it sounds like, hanging out, mortals, feasting, vampiring, stuck, declining. Thus, the spiritual realm is characterized by varying levels of separation based on the spiritual evolution and desires of the souls involved. Okay, so time for the reading of the word. So let me just give you a couple of more verses that I shared in the room here. And you can stop the video. Here's something. What are the lower heavens? So just stop the video if you want to, whoever has more faith in us, let him remain in us. Whoever has faith in Jobi, let him come into his kingdoms. See, the invitation is open to all. We're not trying to be exclusive. It's just that people, they choose what they will. We can't do anything about it. So now, real quick too, I want to show you this study. This is a fascinating study about, the embryo. Let's look at these real quick. It's only 8 mentions. So if you brother want, just stop the video and look at what these verses, let's look at the embryo. This is what I posted in the room. This is a hell of a study, man. I'm going to just go through it real quick so I can get to the reading of the word. See here? We're not yet born. We are not yet born. It says, lastly, above all things, do not live. Don't live for the corporal man. See, the whole world lives for the corporal man. It says, but for the spiritual man, remembering you are not yet born. How do you like that? We are not yet born. We're in the embryo. We're shaping ourselves for the everlasting life. How do you like that? How do you like that, man? See, here's another verse on the embryo. I would love to get into this, but it's time for the reading of the word. You can just stop the video. We're in the embryo, man. We're shaping ourselves. Everybody wants that. All mortals are in the embryonic state. Look at that, preparing for birth, commonly called death. That's you, brother. How do you like that? How do you like that, man? Can you believe the Creator? He said, I give you struggles and miseries, and so you may wake up in strength and glory. See? We got something to look forward to, man. We're on top of the whole world. And the bittersweet thing, we want to share it, but nobody wants to receive it. We can't talk to nobody. Only the Creator can do it. Now let's go for the reading of the word. I'm going to pick up at OURANOTHEN, chapter 5 and 6. OURANOTHEN. Pick up where we left off last time. OURANOTHEN, chapter 5. Okay, so this is going to be a super short video today. This could be super short because all I'm going to do is read chapter 5. I thought it was chapter 6. I'm just going to read chapter 5 and then that's going to be it. We get out of school early today. OURANOTHEN. Boy, orange juice. What would I do without it? Boy. Oh, man. Okay, so may the Creator bless the reading of his word. This is going to be a short one today. Man. It's going to be a real short video today. All right. It says, the words of OURANOTHEN, in the love of God, peace, and goodwill be yours. In times past, the Almighty has bestowed his signs, monuments, and histories by which you shall understand the dominion of his word. Because the ancients were bound down by doctrines and revelations of their predecessors, Jehovah allowed evil disposed men to fall upon their libraries and destroy them. You know, that's you know, you got to love it because that's applicable to our day and age. You can see this right now. You can see people are bound down by doctrines and revelations of our predecessors. And it said, Jehovah, he allowed evil disposed men to fall upon their libraries and destroy them. The library Alexandria. And then it's interesting because there was a second temple or library. I think that was also destroyed. I forget the name of it. It starts with an S. There was an interesting story behind it. And I think I covered a little bit of it in another video. But there was a second temple that was burned down as well. But here the Creator has given us the reason, because men were bound down by the doctrines and revelations of their predecessors. You can see that today. That's why you can't talk to nobody in the beast kingdom. You know, I don't want to sound harsh, but I'm telling you, man, for me, it's still a miracle the way the beast kingdom has a hold on his people. It has a hold on them. You know, you brethren, I share all the time about my interactions with the beast kingdom and how they will not let go of that deity. They will not break from idolatry. And it's really a warning to us. We just got finished reading where the Creator, he said that people, we get separated, man, in the spiritual. We get separated. If we haven't progressed spiritually, then we become wandering spirits. We become wandering spirits, man. But when you progress, you become an Essean, meaning you're beginning to make progress, from what I can see, over your corporeal man, the desires of the corporeal man. You're making progress. You're separating. You're in this reality. You're taking the Creator seriously. Doing battle, you're changing your mind. When you change your mind, then the body follows. It's like there's a saying in boxing, go to the body and the head will fall, or something like that. Keep hitting the body and the head will fall. The same way spiritually, it's a spiritual principle. If you change your mind, if we change our mind and we make it fit within that OAHSPE template, peace, love, righteousness, brotherhood of man, serving your brethren, we keep on changing our mind and we fit inside that template, then we get separated from druges and wandering spirits in the spirit. When we're born in the spirit, we get separated. We make progress, and we got to know how to do it. If someone don't care, if someone can be spiritual and not knowledgeable, those people are called subjective spiritualists, and the world is filled with they are just as dangerous as the beast kingdom. Subjective spiritualists, these are people who talk esoterically, but they are very vague. They never lead you to a source. It's always they or them. They speak in vague terms. They don't point you anywhere. You know what I mean? Subjective spiritualists, they speak spiritually, but you don't get led nowhere. That's not progressing in the spirit. And it takes a lot of men captive. The internet is filled with them people. These are people that have like a lot of views, hundreds of thousands, because they get on there and they say things like, the spirit told me this. They talk about God. They use God. They use God as like a cover to say, now you can say any old thing. You know, God is doing this, God is doing that. That's why pastors, preachers, and that's why they make a killing. Because you just need to throw that little element in there. Now you can say anything you want. And then people sit there and say, well, he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't lie. He wouldn't lie. He wouldn't lie about God, what God told him, or would he? Yeah, man, he would. If it came down to materialism, profit, it said because the ancients were bound down, the Creator had to destroy, he had to destroy their traditions because they were bound down. So he brought evil disposed men to destroy those libraries. And man mourned on the earth, saying the light of heaven was consumed. But Jehovah comprehended what was good for man, desiring him not to be bound down to the ancients, but rather that man should be quickened to the ever-present light of God. And so again, man, it shows you how people, they can't move with the Creator. People can't move with the Creator. He can't, basically it's he has his tradition and he loves it because he don't have to challenge his thinking. He don't have to think too much. It's already been thought out. The answer is, tradition. You don't have to, you can leave the thinking to somebody else, and then whatever they decide, you just do. But the Creator, he don't honor that. He make us think. He make us keep moving. A shark, if it stopped moving, it dies. Seem like the Creator, he wants the same thing for us. He don't want us bound down to this one thing, and then that's it, and there ain't, no more other than this one thing, this doctrine, because that's man's fatal mistake. He likes to put the Creator in a box, and then it's all, there ain't no more work that needs to be done. We can sit, everything's been figured out. We can sit around and stagnate now. We don't have to grow. We don't have to elevate no more. We figured it out. It says, for man had become like a drowning man, clinging to that which was taking him under the water. See, again, man, the beast kingdom. The beast kingdom. It said, for man had become like a drowning man. Clean, I've never drowned, but I've been in the Coast Guard, and that's, I've been out on the water, and we have pulled people who have drowned from the water. And you have to think that when you're drowning, you just reach for anything and you hold on to it. You grab a hold of it. You will not let go. And the Creator here, he's saying the same thing. He says, for man to become like a drowning man, he won't let go. He keeps on clinging to that which is taking him down under the water. And again, man, now I can see more and more clearly why I had that conflagration with my cousin a couple months ago. I shared with y'all. Conflagration with my cousin. He's a devout Christian. And in the world, he was real big. He was a real big person in the world, athletically wise. And I can easily see how his mind is no one can tell him anything. And he's a Leo on top of that, which is like working against it's working against him, because those can be very proud people. You can't tell them anything, some of them. And he's like that. And I certainly can't tell him anything. He wouldn't, I don't have no standing in his eyes at all. But he doesn't know. He's like a drowning man. He's clean. He cannot be told anything to the contrary about the beast kingdom. You can't say anything to him. He's like a drowning man, and he clings to that which is taking him underwater. It says, so only by the destruction of the ancient records could man be persuaded to turn to that which is ever present, even Jehovah. So the Creator said, I got to destroy your source of information. I got to destroy it. And even then, the beast lived on. He's living on today, the tradition of the beast. Even though it's being destroyed, he lives a long time, man, And the same condition has always come to all ancient self-gods and men, for men fear to let go from that which is carrying them further and further away from the Creator. So see, you brethren, you should think about yourself and what you broke free of. You should see the difference in you and the world. Read verses like this. I mean, not to look down on anybody, but you should see yourself. You should see how you are really been, the Creator has really, really blessed each and every one of you to make you able to take your mind, to make you not cling to the beast. Really, it's talking about the beast, religion, the ancients. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I just am amazed. You got to see it. You got to see that you look around and the power that the beast kingdom has on people, and their time is running out. The time is running out. This I also declare to you, the sum of revelation in each and every cycle has been to bring man nearer and nearer to the comprehension of the ever-present, to make him know that Jehovah now is, even as he was with the ancients. He's always contemporary with man, so that man might ultimately have his understanding open so as to receive his own revelation from his Creator and from the angels of God. And I think that's one thing I'm beginning to learn. I talk a lot about inspiration I receive, and I still tend to doubt, because everybody seems to say, God told me this, God told me that. And so I'm afraid of my own mind. I'm afraid of saying stuff like that and attributing everything to God like that. And I don't like that. I'm afraid of it. And I'm asking the Creator to show me that it's not my own mind, that He's the one giving me this inspiration. That's my constant prayer, is that I don't want to be getting up there telling people, God told me this and God told me that. I don't like that. But I didn't come up with everything, you see. It came from somewhere, You were inspired to do this or that. See? like the other day with the cold medicine. Remember? I was getting ready to come on. I said, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I gotta cancel today. I gotta cancel today. And then I was inspired, before I came on, my neighbor knocked on the door. I said, who is it? He said, it's John. I said, what do you want? He said, you got a package out here. I said, all right, leave it there. So right before I came on, I went out and got the package. Sure enough, cough medicine, it took a little swig. And then a couple seconds later, I was good to go. That's inspiration. It happened all the time. I love to try to share, inspiration. See, the Creator, it says here, He wants you to think for yourself, man, so you can get direct revelation. He wants us to get our own revelation. It's hard, to separate. You don't want, I know, none of us want our own mind. We would like it better if it was like a bolt of lightning and it said something like, you are now getting ready to receive a download from the Creator. We want it like that, but it's way more subtler than that. We got to learn it, man. We got to learn how to get on that frequency. See? Such being, in fact, the founding of it, so let me read it again. It says, so that man might ultimately have his understanding open so as to receive his own revelation from his Creator and from angels of God. Such being, in fact, the founding of his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Since then, direct inspiration shall come from the Father to all men. How do you hope to not be bound by the revelations of the prophets of old? The same Creator now is, always was, and ever shall be, to be as near him and as much in him and as much one with him as were the ancient prophets, so shall you then not be, let me read it again. It says, the same Creator now is, always was, and ever shall be, to be as near him and as much in him and as much one with him as were the ancient prophets. Shall you then not also be one with the Father to prophesy and accomplish good works? So the same for them, same for you. For if God the Father is ever the same, and you fulfill his requirements as the ancient prophets did, the same result shall happen to you as to them. The quickened man, therefore, to enter into the living present instead of leaving him as a follower of the ancient light. O revelation is the work of your God. Toward that end, you shall join in wisdom and earnestness, regardless of self-sacrifice. Now, therefore, when the signs of decadence in the old system manifest themselves, as for example, when those who are of good mind and sound judgment, having been believers in the ancient doctrines and the revelations, but afterward turn away from them because the doctrines are impotent, you shall know in truth a new cycle is underway. End of the book of OURANOTHEN. And that will conclude the reading of his word. All right, brethren, if anyone would like to come on and share what a thought or whatever, let me put the link in the room and you will be most welcome to add or take away from what the reading was. I'll hang out a couple more minutes unless anyone wants to say anything or have a discussion or anything. I just think it's an amazing thing that reading that our situation, we're in a time where we should expect there will be, I see a great separation. In other words, I don't think that we're meant to go on and on and on. I don't think that in this reality that we're meant to go on and on, you know, in this situation, never, situation just never changing, always the same. And I think that we're in a new time, and I think a great upheaval is if the history of Pluto going into Aquarius means anything, that the creator is showing us. I mean, we just got finished reading where basically he says he don't sit still. He keeps moving. We have to keep moving. Talks about the destruction of the traditions of things and the old, the old way of things. And creator, he allowed it so that we can not sit and stagnate. We have to keep moving. So we also witnessing where most people can't do that. We in a situation where most people cannot do that. They can't. That's the tragedy. That is a real tragedy right there, man. We in a situation where people can't move with us. They can't move with us. The creator says there's a separation. He said there's a separation, man. He said when you cannot progress, then when you cannot elevate, and it seems like the majority of people become wandering spirits. Just wandering, become druges. Because the first resurrection, eventually we should be making progress. The creator said we have to make progress against the corporal influences. Know what I mean? So, well, brethren, that's the best I can do for right now. So I'll let that be the conclusion of the reading today. And thank you, brethren, and thank the creator for giving us this word so that we can feast on it. And when is the new moon? I haven't been keeping up with the new moon. Somebody was talking about a beaver moon this month. I don't know what that's supposed to. Let's see. When is the new moon for November 2024? I bet you it already passed, didn't it? For November, there's a new moon on the 30th. All right, so we can acknowledge that. Acknowledge it. Meditate, pray, I don't know. There's no formula, but to acknowledge it though. Okay, well, shoot. I think I'm gonna let that be the end of the video. Unless someone wants to say anything, you want to come on and offer anything, a word or testimony or anything. Then if not, then I can go ahead and close the video. So I want to thank the creator for this opportunity to try to be a light while I'm in this reality. Thank you for this word, for showing us that there are different places. There are spiritual realms. There are places for the Essenes and the Essenes, and how they are different than the Druges, where they go, and other details so far as what happens when we're born in the spirit. So thank you, Creator, for telling us these things, and pray that whoever sees this video, that you would enlighten them, strengthen them in their walk as well, grant them peace, love, knowledge, wisdom, and the template that you set before us in the OAHSPE Practical Guidebook. Thank you, Creator, for my brethren joining me, having fellowship with me. So, brethren, until I see you again on video, thank you for joining me. May the Creator be with you. And until I see you again on video. Until I see you again on video. Again, thank you for joining me. Peace be unto you. Shalom.